Welcome back to episode 12 of the Minecraft survival world, and we finally have a storage room dedicated to all of our items that we got from the Nether. However, apart from the custom floor and walls and ceiling, it's only really a bunch of chests. Oh, and a nether portal. I think it's finally time we get some decoration in this place. Now that this place is the part, I want it to actually look the part as well. And when it comes to what exactly that looks like, at the moment, I have no idea. I'm just using nether bricks sparingly, putting in some pillars, and we're going to see if it looks the part. Placeholder pillars put in place, and they don't look half bad. I'm tempted to keep them. The only problem is I want pillars in the middle and the back of the room also. And I want them all to be in line, and if that's the case, then it kind of starts looking a little bit cramped, like these pillars are going to get in the way. What I'm thinking instead is to move them out by one block, so they're going to be sat here, a block on the inside, rather than their current positions. Kind of why I'm refusing to put any detail in at the moment until I at least know the location of where they're going. I mean, who knows, I might end up moving them back to this position. The pillars have now moved, and I'm rather conflicted about how they look. Now it's starting to feel kind of cramped, which I feel should be a crime to say in any room you can actively fly around with ease. And so once again I'm removing the pillars to take the build in a different direction to see how that looks. Again, I'm going to reiterate, I have no clue what I'm doing here, so I'm just making it up as I go along. The main focus for the time being is still going to be nether bricks. Nether bricks put in, here's what we're working with, and I don't know how to feel about it. I think maybe we could get some more nether bricks put in here to separate these two sections of storage, which if you're wondering why we've taken out this middle section, it's because each block has been organised into 3 columns of chests. That's how much space they've been given, and with the chests in the middle here it's an extra 4 blocks, and so it wasn't going to work out for us. I think now I'm going to have to do something with this top section here, which my first thought was to fill in with nether bricks, but I'm pretty certain you can't open the chest. I mean, if I took one of them out, no, I still can't. But I'm fairly certain if we use slabs, that's going to get around that. Let me try and open this chest. Yeah, I can open that chest. So slabs are the way forward, unless if I double them up like that. Now, I like the overhang we have with the nether bricks over the chests, and I wanted to put pillars like intermittently down this section. The only problem is if obviously we do put pillars in, they cover up the chests, and it's going to be a pain getting to them, so that's not going to work. My next thought was, why don't we just widen the overhang? Then yeah, we could get away with placing pillars, but it kind of looks out of place, so I don't like that. And I'm thinking the widened overhang kind of looks clunky, so we're removing that too. Then I thought about putting slabs in under the overhang, but again that just makes it look slightly thick. Doesn't work particularly well, I don't think. I think in hindsight, if I was to do this room again, I would probably recess the chests into the wall. So I'd dig back a few blocks this way, let's say, and I put the chests within this area here, and then I can have more of an overhang plus pillars. In my humble opinion, it would have worked. I mean, we probably still could make it work, even with the chests here. It's just these chests are now the problem over here because we have so many of them. I don't want to make the place feel too cramped. So my next thought is, how about we put slabs along the bottom? It's not terrible, and we can still get to the bottom chests. I don't want to say it's a keeper, but it's a potential. So for the time being, I'm going to keep it in. In fact, I'll also do it to the other side just to make sure we're being consistent. Now, I wanted to put stair blocks in the corners to round them off a bit more, but again, it's starting to get in the realm of covering up the chests, and I don't want that. I mean, I know we've got these slabs in place that do half cover up the chest, but they're a lot easier getting to these chests down here than, say, having a stair block in the corner and you can only get to like a quarter of the chest. So I don't want that. However, I figured, what happens if I can place them, I don't know if I can, there we go. If I place stair blocks like this, upside down stair blocks, I think, looking back, that has a pretty good look to it. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's something. It's a simple design, but I like where it's going. So while I figure out our next move of building progression, I'm going to place nether bricks along the chests of the other back walls of the space. I'm also thinking, with them now in place, maybe I should start to get nether bricks placed around the rest of the chest within the area. Because at the moment, the rest of the chests are like little deserted islands. They form their own island chain, and I want to join them together in my archipelago of a build. And part of that is seeing how the nether brick looks. I'm not sure if this is working. I mean, yes, on one hand it is working. I do like them, but they're kind of giving me shipping container vibes now, and I'm not a fan of that. Not for this build at least. And between some of these sections, it's getting fairly tight, which isn't the worst in the world. It's still working quite well. I'm wondering now if we take out these columns of nether brick like so, and instead join them together to make one larger storage container. See, I'm saying storage containers. They're not storage containers. But the thing is, if I start filling this with slabs like this, which, you know, it's fine, it's just I'm covering a portion of the custom flooring, and I kind of like the custom flooring, as previously predicted I would last episode. Once we start getting things in here, the flooring has now come into its own element. So I'm thinking maybe I just remove the central slabs, which I like. The only issue is this end, because these chests protrude out further than these chests. It's kind of an awkward shape to connect them to, unless if I took these bits out as well, add a pillar like that, connect them like that. That can work, I think. Right, that can work. What happens if I have slabs here? No, that looks weird. Okay, I'm not doing that. While I figure out what I want to do with this space, I am going to set up some soul soil. It is soul soil, isn't it? Soul sand, sorry. I always get those two confused. I set up some soul sand and then get some nether wart planted. Probably seems kind of ridiculous, but between last episode and this episode, I actually added a few more items to the storage. One of them being red nether brick, and the different variants, you know, the slabs, the stairs, the walls. And I'm thinking that now might be the time to use some of them, because, let's be honest, it's a great block. In fact, if I take out some of them, oh, yeah, they look really, really nice. I really like how they look. Unfortunately for us, they're just a really expensive block to make. And I know my current nether wart supplies, while it's not bad, it's not going to be enough to supply this build. Hence why I'm going to be setting up another farm up here on the top layer. Just a temporary one, but, you know, if I like it, maybe it'll stay. Could function as a storage room and a nether wart farm. That would be kind of nice. One thing that is temporary are these torches. I can't go back on myself after making a big deal of them last episode. The torches are temporary. They are not here to stay. Although Juicy Foresight has come to the realisation that I'm going to need to set up something else as well as a nether wart farm, and that is going to be an automated smelting setup, so we can smelt a load of netherrack. I know it's not the most efficient way to cook things, we're only going to be having 4 furnaces on the go, but it is automated and I don't have to set up a super smelter, and it can be running in the background while we do other things, which is important, which, you know, there's an argument to be made for the super smelter, because that can do just the exact same thing. Okay, it's the effort. I don't want to put in the effort to make a super smelter, and I don't have to worry about running out of netherrack. We have tons of that stuff, so we can just keep smelting to our heart's content. You know what, on second thought, that's a lot of netherrack, and seeing as we have the resources, I might as well set up a few more automated smelting setups. Okay, so I've done a little bit of playing around. I've decided to open up these corners in between the islands of chests, and I think it makes the space look a lot more open, a lot more airy, not so cramped. Comparing it with how it used to look, so this is what we were looking at before. As you can see, they were very segregated from one another, and the space just looked kind of confined and tight. I mean, yeah, you can't tell me this doesn't look better, this more open style plan. I mean, you can tell me it doesn't look as good, I'm just not going to believe you. Now, something else I've been thinking about playing around with is if we take out the pillars, joining the bottom row of slabs and the top row of nether brick. Let me just put in these corners again with slabs. I've been thinking, actually, no, what am I doing? Well, I was going to say I've been thinking about using nether brick walls to join them up, and I've just completely butchered that. And I'm also going to need bricks placed in the actual full blocks. So what are we thinking? Are we thinking this, or are we thinking this? Personally, I think looking at the two, this looks the better of the two, I think. And it also makes me think that maybe these blocks up here shouldn't be bricks, but should instead be slabs. I'm not sure if they do work just as well, and that's not me just saying it so I don't have to replace all the nether bricks we've placed with slabs, but because now it looks, well, kind of fragile. I mean, what does it look like if we fill in the space above the chest with slabs as well? Maybe it'll look different from below. I mean, it looks a bit better, but honestly, I think it looks better with the top row of nether bricks. I do. So, out come the slabs. Now, before I jump into replacing all of these blocks with walls, what I'm first going to test out is the nether brick, the red nether brick, should I say. So if I take out these, and that corner, like so, place in the red nether brick blocks and the walls to go with it. How does that look? See, I like the look of it, I really do, but does it look out of place? It does look a little bit out of place. Maybe it's because of the blocks on the top and the bottom. Maybe if I take them out and replace them with regular nether brick. Oh yeah, no, now I think that looks a lot better. Okay, I think that's the next step. Wait, hang on a minute. Maybe, let me just test this out. Okay, I'm cooking. If I put red nether brick here as well, is this going to be too much? I hope it's not going to be too much. It might be too much. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let me take them out again and see what I think. Okay, I think I prefer it without the middle walls. Well, at least now I know my next step of building progression, and that's to get the corners replaced with the red nether brick walls. The next question we need to ask ourselves is, does red nether brick stairs work around the top instead of the usual nether brick stairs? The answer is going to be a hard no from me. But what happens if we replace these blocks up here with red nether brick? Does it look better then? The answer is it kind of throws a spanner in the works, because yeah, I actually think it does. What happens when I swap out these two nether brick stairs with red nether brick stairs? That does kind of work. What about these two in the middle as well? That too much? I think that actually works. So I'm going to have to swap out for some slabs, don't I? Oh, that was an accident. Is that too much? I don't think it is, actually. I quite like that. The problem is that means all of these bricks are going to have to come out now in place of red nether brick. Where's the red nether brick? Here's the red nether brick. I've got some in the offhand as well. How did I not see that? Although having said that, before committing to it on a whimsy, I am first going to get the nether brick stairs put into place and see if I like it on the chest islands. Unfortunately, I do like it. I've just signed myself up for more work. But the results have been worth it. And now that I've filled in the space above the chest with slabs, it's starting to get a bit dark up here and inadvertently turned into a bit of a mob spawner. Not that mobs are spawning in now that I've decided to show you, but you got to take my word for it, they were up here. Spiders, skeletons, the lot. And until I decide on a better light source, we're going to have to make do with torches up here. I'm wondering as well what it would look like with red nether brick slabs between some of the sections of the chest islands and the chest wall. I mean, yeah, it does work, but you lose some of the visibility of the ceiling above, and I would rather see that than another row of red nether brick slabs, I'm thinking. So it's going to be a no for these. But what about if we alternate these slabs with red nether brick slabs down here? I wonder how that will look like. It does work. It doesn't work quite as well as just the nether bricks by themselves down here. I think too much red nether brick will take away from the accent of the red nether brick up top, so I'll probably take them out now. I mean, I know probably about it, I am taking them out. That's not going to be the only slabs I test out, because I'm also wanted to try out some of the nether wood type. So here's the crimson wood in the form of slabs. Here's the warped wood, also in the form of slabs. And here's going to be a mixture of the two with an alternating effect. Although it's quite clear to me the alternating pattern isn't going to work very well. It kind of reminds me of candy floss or an ice cream parlour. Just the crimson wood on their own looks much better, but the warped wood I think fits the theme even better. Seems to complement the nether brick and red nether brick better than the crimson wood does, but I don't know if that's because we're in the warped forest section of the storage room. If we were to try it over in the crimson forest biome with the crimson wood, maybe that would work better. I mean, yes, it does work, there's no doubt about it, but what happens when I replace that with the warped wood? How does that look over here? Yeah, honestly, I still think that looks better. So that's the next building decision we're going to add to this place. I thought about trying to fit the warped stem and crimson stem into the build somewhere, but I just don't think these blocks are going to suit the build. Up top on the layer above the chest, there are these two squares in each of the outer corners of the room. Two squares that I feel should have some sort of pillar. Now, at the moment, it's only a column of netherite bricks, but I actually think it works. I'll put a second one in the outer corner, and now I'm going to surround the top and bottom of the pillars with stair blocks. And just from this simple addition, they look a lot better. I'm kind of curious, actually, if I take out the pillar blocks and put in the red nether brick wall instead, how that looks. It doesn't look as structurally sound. How about if I just replace a couple of the blocks? I mean, it looks the part, not quite as good as the pillar just by itself. That's not to say we can't use some trap doors on this pillar. See how that looks. We've got one with the warp trapdoors, and this second one's going to have crimson trapdoors. I actually think in this instance, the crimson trapdoors are better than the warped ones. I think the warped ones work well with the slabs, but I think the crimson trapdoors are going to work better for the pillars. That's my humble opinion. However, I'll probably change the placement of them. I think instead I'll have some at the bottom and some at the top. And personally, I think that looks better. I'm wondering as well if up top we put in some red nether brick walls like this, how that looks. In the same location as the pillars underneath, so it's continuing. Maybe the top one we take out and put in a nether brick? I'm not sure. Maybe another nether brick here as well? That might work. I think that works better. I'm also putting in the pillars on the back wall as well, because I feel like it fits pretty well. Even though it is a little bit cramped up here with the nether warp farm on the go, it works. I also need to find an alternative light source. I was thinking shroom light or glowstone, like what we'd done with the flooring, but honestly, I don't think it fits. I mean, maybe I could put them into the flooring like so. That wouldn't be too bad. The question is, how does it look underneath? That's not actually awful. I think a better alternative is going to be soul lanterns. I don't ever use these, but I think they've got quite a nice aesthetic. One that I feel personally fits the theme we're going for. The problem is the soul lanterns aren't very bright, so I'm having to use a lot of them. And here's what I was saying before, that when I take the torches out, it is dark enough up here that mobs are going to spawn in. While I do think the lanterns fit the build, I think having them up here hanging from the ceiling doesn't work as well as maybe having them on the floor, on the ground like this. I think that will probably work, and at least then from afar, let's say when I'm down here, I can glide down there, I'm not going to be able to see them in the same way. It's not going to be as obtrusive. The place is littered with them now, but they look arguably a lot better than the torches that were sporadically placed out across the entire area. And as I thought I would when I put them in, I'm now thinking about keeping the nether warp farm here. Not only that, but actually expanding it. The question is, how does it look from ground level? And I've got to say, it fits the build quite nicely actually. Fills that top space, gives it a purpose, doesn't allow for a load of empty space to just be sat there. And when you come up to the top, you can see we've got quite the handful of nether wart up here, and it should supply us with all our nether wart needs for the foreseeable future. And you know, visually from up top on the surface level, I actually think it adds to the build. However, it is annoying that the only way I can get up to that level is by using elytra and rockets. Not ideal. And so what I'm thinking instead is these central sections of the back wall, I can place in some ladders that will allow me to access that top floor. I am going to have to take out part of the nether wart farm to accommodate them, but again, we're only sacrificing a few, and I think it's going to be worth it rather than spending rockets to get up and down every time. What if we try vines out? How's that going to look? It seems like I can't... Can I grow them any more than this? Oh, I can grow them more. Does that work, or is that too much? Do I prefer it with the vines, or without the vine? I don't know. Let me see what it looks like from the other side. It's hard to say. It doesn't look bad. Question is, do I commit to it? And also, if I am going to be using vines, am I even using the right vines? What happens if I use... Can I not place the warped vines? Twisted vines? Is this a thing? You just can't place warped vines? Like you can with the crimson vines? What's going on? I guess we can't answer that question whether or not we've got the right vines, because these are the only ones we can use. I can't decide whether or not it's too much. What happens if I've just used them a little bit more sparingly? I think that works better. Okay, I'm happy to do this. Yeah, I can get behind this. I think having an entire curtain full of them was not the way to go. Having them more sparingly seems to have a better effect on the build. And from our time in the Nether last episode collecting resources, we've definitely got enough for the weeping vines. Is that what they're called? Weeping vines, yes. You know what, in terms of the build, I think we're almost there. However, there is something else I want to do, and like what we did here with the villagers in the trade hall, with having like a little fenced balcony section, I want to do the same down here. And I'm thinking we start this off with some upside down stairs that are going to go all the way around. We can get the fences put in, and I don't want it to be just fences all the way around. I actually want to try and break it up a bit. The easiest way to do that, I'm thinking, is with nether bricks for the time being. Just adding them in every couple of blocks seems to make a bit of a difference. Now, is that too much? No, I actually do think it works, but I don't think this is quite enough. What happens if we put a red nether brick on top of each one? Is that going to work? Or does that look silly? It looks kind of silly, doesn't it? I'm going to take them off. Okay, test 2. I instead heighten it the 3 blocks. However, the middle one I'm going to take out and replace, where are they? The red nether brick walls. How about I do them instead? You know what? I think they work. I do. And it fits the theme because it goes well with these up here. yeah, while I do think they definitely look better, now I'm starting to feel, despite even having the fences at the bottom, they have a disconnected feel to them. So now I feel like I've got to connect them at the top. I mean, that would work, but again, it feels quite, it just doesn't fit, I don't think. Pushes the build down slightly. I'm wondering now if I hop up like this, just temporarily, and place stair blocks there instead. Let me put a couple of nether bricks there to connect them, and then like that. Maybe stair blocks like that. What does that look like once I take these out? And maybe this out? I need some slabs there. I've got to have slabs, haven't I? Have I got slabs in here? Yeah, I've got some slabs in here. If I get some slabs placed there, I need slabs placed there as well, don't I? You know what? Maybe slabs are the wrong thing. Maybe instead we need upside down stairs, like so. Yeah, I think that fits. The only issue is we're not going to be able to connect these two now because I can't put a stair block on this block facing that way as well. So that's probably not going to work either. Okay, we're going to have to make some amendments here. What happens if we put them like that and just put a couple of stair blocks in the middle like so, take them out, put in some upside down stairs here instead. Let me take them out, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that can work, I think. Let me try the same here on this corner and see if it works. So we get the couple of bricks placed in, we get one of them, come back down, take them out, get the stair blocks upside down, take these blocks down so they don't obstruct the view. I think that might work. Okay, so from this side, if we look over there, this is what we're looking at. Doesn't look bad, but I think we could add to it. I think we can all agree on that. And then if we run round to the other side, what do we prefer? Do we prefer these or do we prefer these? And I'm actually leaning more towards these than these. And if we're going to take a poll where my vote outweighs everyone else's, I think we're going to have to go with this then. Here they are with the archways put in place. I think for the middle sections where we have a higher number of fences in between, I'm going to make another archway just a little bit higher. So I think if we do what we did here, tower up, I'm going to put probably a wall block again, followed by, was it a nether brick we put? Yeah, nether brick. Then we do this, blah, 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 all the way across. Put a nether wall there, then a brick. And then we do the old this, and this. Then we come down, then we take that out, take that out, take that, and that. And we put in the upside down stair there, upside down stair there, upside down stair there, upside down stair there. Does it work? Or do I need to put slabs? No. I think it does work actually. Let's see what it looks like from the other end. Oh, yeah, it doesn't stand out. It kind of blends in with the rest of the build in the background. But yeah, I think that works as well as anything else. The very last thing I want to put in for this build is to take out the middle fence blocks and instead put them with gates, because I know what I'm like. At the moment, this hole is just a hole, but as we add to the hole and put in more layers like this layer with the nether storage and the trade hall up there, I'm going to want to glide down to those layers. Something that's going to be kind of annoying if there's fence blocks in the way. Hence why I'm putting in the gates. And I'm going to say the build is done. That is complete. We have our nether storage room, a place for all of our blocks where it's neatly organized. We're not going to have to worry about not having the space to store it. I can't see us running out of room unless if it's years time and we've got some insane farms running or something, and even then I don't see it getting full up. And remember, this is just the storage room for the nether. We've still got to do one for the end and of course here the overworld. However, unlike what I did for the nether layer, I'm not going to forcibly persist clearing the space without a beacon, even with having the best pickaxe the game has to offer. If I can make it easier on myself this time, I'm going to. And so here we are back in the nether, heading towards one of the dozen fortresses we've come across since entering the world. And until I've found 3 wither skeleton skulls, I'm not leaving this place. Or should I say 2 wither skeleton skulls, because we've already found one. Even if yes, it was off camera. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner, because that didn't take long at all. Probably because I didn't have a looting 3 sword back then. It's a good nether fortress, that one. And the best place to fight the wither is going to be in the end, under the end gate home. Or end portal, whatever you want to call it. Is it a fair fight? Absolutely not. Is it just? Yes. And I can't believe I just messed up. Okay, take 2. Here he is, the wither. And if things have gone to plan, he should be trapped. Now I've got Enderman on my case. I mean, this is probably a harder fight than the actual wither fight itself. Now let's show him how it's done. And if things go according to how I think they should, we should get a nether star from this. There it is, the nether star. Wham bam. From memory, the beacon recipe requires some obsidian, so I'm going to take some from the pillars. And that means we should now be able to make a beacon. Here it is in all its glory. Not that it's going to properly work yet because we have no beacon blocks underneath it. Not to fret, we have a shulker box designed for this, beacons. And as you can see, we have more than enough gold and emeralds. The emeralds I've been intermittently trading with the villagers to accumulate these blocks. The gold, this is mostly what we got from the nether. I ended up smelting it all down, and yeah, that's more than enough. So now we just need to think where we're going to put this beacon. And seeing as we've got quite a bit of mining to do, not only here for another layer, but also the hole itself, because I want to deepen it to the lowest part of the world, I'm thinking we put it somewhere in the middle. So now I'm planning to dig down to the bottom of the world. There's a creeper there. From here, I place the beacon block down so I know where I want the centre of the beacon to be, and now carve out enough space around it so we can fit said beacon. Then I put down the beacon blocks, which for this instance we're going to be using gold blocks, because I don't think I'm really going to use gold blocks for anything else apart from like a bartering farm, but I'm going to have to actually set up a piglin bartering farm first. Not to mention the emeralds are still going to come in handy because there are still things I want to buy from the villagers. And then the beacon block on top is the cherry on the cake. There we go. I've made the advancement beaconator and bring home the beacon. And then I believe putting in 1 gold ingot and selecting haste 2 should give us the haste 2 mining ability. And because we've placed it at the bottom of the world, we should get haste 2 throughout the entirety of our base now. Oh, and of course I had to have the 1 efficiency 4 pick I have on me when I'm testing this out. Right. Where's my ender chest? Here it is. Yes, look at that. Finally, we can insta-mine. Man, that feels so satisfying. Feels unbelievably amazing and justified. Well, I suppose if I have got a Fortune 3 pick out on me, I might as well tower up on these diamonds I found when carving out the beacon space and use Fortune 3 on them, right? So from 8 to 13, not the best, but it's better than nothing. A moment ago you heard me say there were still things I want to buy from the villagers, and like I said last episode, I'm going to try and make it a point of every episode, if I remember, contingent on whether or not I remember, buying an additional shovel, axe, not from that guy, shovel, axe and pickaxe that we can add fully OP enchants to, and add to our pickaxes and shovel shulker box, which might seem like overkill when we've already got a netherite pickaxe and a netherite shovel and a netherite axe. But the thing is, when taking on large projects, and I even found it with carving out the space for this second layer here, typically you need more than 1 tool's durability worth to get the job done, and previous experience has just taught me have some backup shulkers with backup tools. The nice thing about intermittently buying backup tools and then enchanting them is you have the time to regain the levels. So I'm now at level 73, and I did it rather comfortably, did it without even trying. It's a nice sight being up here at the mob spawner and seeing my beacon. It just showcases my technological advancements. I say technological advancements because I'm pretty sure this is technology within Minecraft. As well as making it a point to buy backup tools, I want to semi-regularly come down to the bottom of the nether, all with the intention of course of finding ancient debris. I have returned from the nether with 24 pieces of ancient debris, which will slap them into cook, and go into our beacons box to pick up a handful of gold, and then combine them with the now smelted netherite scrap for 6 ingots. Then inside our miscellaneous shulker box, we will take 3 of the 4 smithing templates, because obviously we've got to keep 1 spare so we can duplicate it. And then once again access our beacons box for some diamonds, and then use said diamonds plus some netherrack and the smithing template to duplicate it several times. If there's 10 smithing templates, but we only need 6, so 4 of them went back in, giving us 5 in the miscellaneous box. And then paying my buddy, the toolsmith over at the trade hall, a visit. We can use the smithing table to upgrade the pickaxe and shovel we got last episode, and then the pickaxe we got this episode, into their fully realised netherite version. And now we have a pickaxe shulker box with 5 spare picks, 2 of them on the point of breaking, a shovel shulker box with 5 spare shovels, and an axes shulker box with 4 spare netherite axes. Telling you, in 20 or 30 episodes time, they'll be full. But that's going to be it for this episode, and I'm really happy with what we've managed to do this episode. We now have a fully realised and organised nether storage room, a beacon at the bottom of our base that gives us haste 2, which should allow for massive progress moving forward with getting other layers carved out and the hole deepened. So as always, thanks for watching. Alright, bye.